This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. Today I'm very lucky joined by Concept Reece. So thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's good to see you.
Anytime. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm a big fan of the channel. Huge fan.
And no one's ever said that to me before about in person about the channel. Blimey. Yeah. So how did you're also a YouTuber yourself. I got your channel in the description, but how did you originally get into YouTube?
Wow. It's something I've always wanted to do. Ever since I was like 15, 16, I said, I really want to do it. And I was kind of put off. And then my friend, he's also a YouTuber, ATM Tech, said, why don't you just go for it? Just do it. And it just started from there. I kind of started off as a gaming channel, and I realized that there was this new game coming out, and my focus kind of came to that. And then I was like, well, if this new game's out, maybe I should go into boxing, because that's another passion of mine. So my channel's evolved over time to this boxing game and also just general boxing. So it's been a long road, but we're slowly getting there.
Yeah, I remember you seeing. I think you put a post out on YouTube saying, should you create another channel for having one for Esports Boxing Club and then having one for all the other games? I think personally, you should just keep it all on one channel because all the Esports Boxing Club does boost it. That's very popular. But what you decided you're going to do?
Good question. I think I'm going to keep it all on one page. I think it was a unanimous decision. Everyone just wanted this to be like a hub where it's not just boxing news, but obviously just boxing games and just general what's been happening in both worlds. So don't worry, there's not going to be another concept channel anytime soon. I can promise that.
Yeah, we good. There was this great channel. It does look normally when people start off on YouTube, the cameras are all like 144p, but your one's all very professional. I thought when I first clicked on your channel, I was like, how does this guy not have more subscribers? Now you're on the 1,000 mark. I think nearly on 1,100. It's getting close to 2K. So what I really want to talk about is obviously Esports Boxing Club. So what are your overall thoughts on the game?
Exciting, isn't it? I mean, when I was a kid, I lived off fight night. That was literally where it was at for me. I didn't do anything else, and we didn't have a boxing game for absolutely ages. It's actually been 11 years now. So Steel City Interactive have come out of nowhere, said, here's our boxing game, something for you guys to enjoy. And it is like the boxing gods, not just myself, but you as well, have said, listen, you guys have got to create content on this because, hey, we need to promote it. And it's an exciting journey. I mean, I feel like I started at the right time with YouTube because this game was kind of in its early stages, and now we've had announcements for Canelo, and I've been on the journey to when Tyson Fury's been announced, and there's just so much more. And it's that in earlier games, especially with Fight Night, they've mainly been kind of arcade-esque games, and that's been fine. But this time we're getting that strategic gameplay, and for me, as a boxing fan, that's so exciting.
Do you think? I remember the start, they were kind of signing British level fighters, English level fighters, and now they're signing all the world champions. I think that because they hired Todd Grisham as kind of the speaker for the game, and he's gone around signing quite a few fighters. I think he made kind of one of the biggest differences to the game. Caleb Plant's in it, Canelo's in it. What are your thoughts on Canelo Alvarez? Because he's the biggest star in boxing right now. What are your thoughts about him being in the game?
He's the superstar. He is literally the juggernaut of boxing. And I think if you put his name in anything, I think automatically you're going to get sales just because people want to play as him. I think more impressively though, even though Canelo's very impressive, I'm more impressed by, I'm speaking for all your fans here because I think everyone wants to know this. How do you speak to Todd Grisham? Because we're all watching you and going, this Fred is chatting to all the big names. I'm talking Mayweather, Todd Grisham. I'm interviewing you here for a second. How have you done it?
It's all via, I think it helps because I'm 17. I guess if I was a 50-year-old man kind of starting out, I don't think they'd be as lenient to give you an interview, but since I'm 17, I'll just turn 17 in May. But with Todd Grisham, I sent him an email and I sent him a DM. Ryan Rhodes he's a really nice guy. All of them are really nice. I've never done one interview I've been like, oh, that person's not very nice. Everyone's always been really nice about it. Yeah, so the Todd Grisham one, I sent him an email. I think his email's on his Instagram. I think it's on his Instagram. Maybe he might have taken it off. But for Ryan Rhodes, I sent him a load of tweets. But Ryan Rhodes, I was trying to get Ryan Rhodes for like a couple of weeks straight, and then he sent me a DM, and I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. So basically, normally what I do, if I'm really desperate trying to get in contact with someone, I'll send a tweet out, comment on the Instagram picture, the last couple of pictures saying, hi, my name's Fred Beck, 17 years old. Please check your DM for an interview on Zoom. And yeah, DMs, tweets, emails to their website. That's kind of how.
It's amazing, man. Honestly, I tell people about your channel. I'm not even joking with you. I go, you need to check this kid out because he's doing things that people I couldn't even dream of doing. And I wish I was 17 again doing these things. So I don't know this. I don't mean to say your interview here, but who's the next big name? Who have you got? I'm waiting.
I've got tonight. Well, for interviews, all of people don't understand is because I've been uploading a lot of clips recently. I see people commenting saying, "Oh yeah, we've already seen this." I'm like, "Yeah, but I haven't got anything else to post because." Sometimes I won't do an interview for like a week and a half straight, and then sometimes I have 3 in a day. It all depends when the first people get back to me. So later today, I got Caleb Chirax, who's actually in Esports Boxing Club as well. I've done him before, and it's always easier doing an interview when you've done them before because you kind of know them better then. Yeah, and he's in the Esports Boxing Club, so I can talk to him about that. And then I'm dry. I'm out of water. Then you see, so I have to send another load of emails and DMs.
Amazing, man. Love it.
Yeah. So regarding the game, when the game comes out, do you think you'll move on to Twitch at all? Because I see a lot of the Coaches Corner and Boxing Fanatico, they stream on Twitch. Do you think you'll be kind of doing a bit of that?
I can see it happening, yeah. I mean, for my channel, I've always kind of took it as a project, and I advise anyone that's starting YouTube to do this, look at things as a project and have a goal in sight. So for me, it was, I want to achieve 1,000 subscribers. It's not because whatever, monetization or partner program, it's none of that. It's just because it was a number that I really liked. And I was like, I really want to achieve this number. And I've got that now. So I was like, right, okay, what's my next goal? My next goal for YouTube is 5,000 subscribers, but I also want to achieve Twitch. So yes, it's I've got a big announcement coming on what I'm doing with the channel. And one of them, and this is an exclusive, I guess it's coming here first, is more focus on Twitch.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I think Twitch is harder than YouTube, because you're live streaming the whole time, and that's people who are going to take time out of a day to watch a blooming live stream. Whereas in a video, you kind of skip the parts you want to watch. Yeah, so on Twitch, how are you going to get that started? When do you think you're going to start?
Oh, good question, man. Good question. And I agree with you, by the way. I think Twitch is really difficult. I commend anyone that's doing really well on Twitch. I think it'll be something definitely in the next month or two that I do put a bit more focus on. Definitely when this game comes out, you've got to be on Twitch for when Esports Boxing Club comes out. So that will it'll be all up and ready, especially before then.
I know you do a lot of live streams on the channel as well. What I think you should do, I tried a couple, but I live stream from my laptop, so the quality is not great, so I don't really do any. But a lot of people do this. They do live reactions, so they're watching the boxing. People watch them watching the boxing, which I always find quite odd because if you're waking up at 4 in the morning or staying up to 11 a.m. or 12 p.m., why would you just watch someone react to the boxing? Why don't you just buy it yourself? But they do get a lot of views. You ever thought about doing kind of live reactions when you're watching the fights on TV?
Yeah, do you know what? It's funny, but so I did it once, and it was the first time I did it, and I've found it so difficult because I feel like you're like this commentator for the people watching who haven't got the chance to watch it. So I did I was watching the Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul fight, and I'm talking about the fight, but I'm so immersed into watching what's going on, and it's 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning. I'm tired, and I'm like, man, this is a juggling act right now. So maybe if it's UK fights, I'll consider it more. But for me, I see these like as events. So for Anthony Joshua and Usyk, I'm usually going to my friends or having family over and watching it. So it is very difficult, but it's something I really want to do more of on the channel. 100%, mate.
And so what what camera do you have for live streaming? So I've got a GoPro, I think it's here at 8. I can live stream on that, but the battery's not great. I don't think it only lasts like an hour, which isn't really long enough. I've got a DSLR Panasonic camera I could use, but how do you live stream?
Yeah, so in terms of streaming, I've literally just got a new mic, so it's right here. I've got the Rode PodMic Go. So for that. I've got a Go XLR, so it's like an audio interface that goes in it, so you can change the volumes. And I film off a Canon M50. And the way to keep it going is I put a dummy battery in there, so it's constantly on all the time. And it allows me to look pretty decent. I mean, it's not just the skincare and the moisturizer. This is a good camera, man. It hides some of them blemishes that are on this face. So it's so yeah, that's usually my setup. It's a weird one, right? Because I have the means right now to buy these things, and I don't subscribe to the idea that you need a Canon M50 or a Rode PodMic or whatever to be a YouTuber or to stream. This is the mid to expensive way of doing these things. And but yeah, that's how I've done it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I need to get it sorted out because I want to start doing some of the like because they get a lot of views to live streams when you're watching the fights as well. Yeah, so just going back to the game, what fighters? Obviously, there's loads of fighters being announced. My fighter I particularly want to be in the game is Mike Tyson because 80%. That's what Todd Grisham says. When I asked him that question, I thought it'd be like 50% because if he would say 50%, then he could say, "Oh yeah, but we couldn't get him in the end." But now it's 80%. That's pretty promising. But what fighters do you like to see in the game, which haven't been announced yet?
I'm with you there, Fred. I think Mike Tyson's. I think he's top of most people's list. I think if you're a boxing historian or a guy around my age slash a lot older, Mike Tyson's on the list for many people. Another one though, and this is more of a dark horse. I'd say Errol Spence is someone I would like to see in the game. And the reason I would like to see him in the game is because of we've got Terence Crawford and that rivalry there. You got Amir Khan. It just makes sense having Errol Spence in that circle as well. It just completes it nicely.
Yeah, what PBC? Because Errol Spence on PBC and Fox. What PBC fighters have they got in the game? Because it seems like they signed most fighters, but they signed the least PBC fighters in the game. So I'm not thinking about it. You got Gervonta Davis. He's not in it. Obviously, the big star. Is Keith Thurman in the game? Do you know?
Oh, good question. Is Keith Thurman in the game?
I don't think he is. I would know if he was, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't think he is in the game, but he's another one. Like, but if you've got Keith Thurman, then you need the big boys, right? You need your Floyds, you need your Pacquiao's. It's a weird one. Like I get quite a lot of stick on my channel sometimes with my defense of Jake Paul and having that kind of boxer in this game. And I've said many times that I think they bring value in a sense of their popularity and who they are as fighters to a game like this. So I think, and it's true to real life. Like we're having Daniel Dubois and Tommy Fury fighting on the undercard of a YouTube boxer, which is strange, I guess, but it's the way we live now, and I think that should be represented in this game.
Yeah, I asked Ryan Rose about that, and Ryan was like, "Oh, is he really a boxer?" Then he started talking about how the numbers that Jake was bringing in. I think they'd love to have them. It's just the expensives that they'd have to pay. Obviously, you got the True Georgies, the Vidal Riley. He's in the game. Then he's a legitimate boxer. Then again, so is Jake Paul. He's got his pro license. He's on BoxRec, 3-0, 3 KOs. I kind of guess he is in a way. Only have a few more questions. I don't take too much of your time up. But what are your thoughts on the career mode? Because I asked Ryan Rhodes about the story mode, and Ryan wasn't really sure about it. Then it turns out that we do kind of have a story mode or kind of interactive mode where you can walk around in it. I remember Wasif Natiko talking about it in the trailer that came out. But what are your thoughts on the career mode for the game?
I mean, there's very little spoken about on what the career mode has to offer yet, which is it's a hard one for me because I'm not an online player, so I don't do like career online modes or anything like that. I'm just solely a career mode fighter or player in anything I do. And for me, the important elements of a career mode is how interactive it is. So how much engagement am I getting from this and the story? And as well as that, how difficult is the career mode? So how difficult is it to be a world champion? I know that we have different levels of championships in there. You can start off at British level and work your way up to the WBC title. For me personally, I want it to be challenging, like super challenging to go from a British champion to a world champion. I want it to take ages.
I feel like they do the levels, like FIFA, they've got beginner mode, intermediate. I can't remember semi-pro, world class. I think they'll do something like that because when the bad players won't be able to reach kind of the world champions level of boxing, like the WBC Ring Magazine, they were starting to get a bit annoyed, don't you think?
Yes, yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. It's for me, I think, like I said, going back to it, I think the challenge is important for this career mode. I think it's really important that we're at a level where you don't just go 4 fights in from getting the British title. You're now the WBC champion. Or it'd be great if there was an interim level belt that you could get where you're the interim champion for so many fights, and then eventually you get your opportunity. And once you've won it, you got the opportunity to move up and be the interim champion for the heavyweight WBC title. Get to fight Joe Joyce.
Tell you what, I really don't want in the game. Actually, I know it sounds a bit hypocritical because obviously you want all the belts in the game. I don't want all the interim titles. That's all right, but when you have like the regular titles, the Cinco de Mayo titles, the gold belts. You don't really. I just thought of that now. I never thought that before. I think that's what you really don't really want in it. And what I also found quite interesting, no one's really mentioned this, but will coaches be in the game? And I was speaking to Ryan about it, and he was saying that Eddie Reynoso, Canelo's corner, will be in the game, and they have to do the corner works. They have to kind of do the facials like that, or the when they're winning. So I thought that's quite interesting as well. How do you think that? What fighters and trainers would you like to see in the game? Because clearly they won't be able to get them all in. They'll have to get kind of the AIs as well, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think going back to your first point about the promoters, what promoters are wanting the game has to be Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. Like, they are the go-to. And I've got a theory. This is not ESBC's communications, it's just my theory. But there is a scene in one of the gameplay trailers where I swear they're fighting outside, and I can tell you it looks like Eddie Hearn's back garden. Like, it's not based off.
Yeah, it is. It is Eddie. I think it is Eddie Hearn's back garden. It is.
It's Eddie. Well, it looks just like it. So if it's Eddie Hearn's back garden, does that mean we are going to get Eddie Hearn? That's fingers crossed, right?
That's
there.
a very good point. I haven't thought of that before. I'll bring that up next time when I talk to Ryan or Todd. Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah. And no one's mentioned the stadiums or anything or where it's going to take place either. That's quite true as well.
Yeah, there's not. So yeah, when you're speaking to your superstar contacts, don't forget me, because I came up with that one.
Yeah, I mentioned you in there. Only one more question about EA. EA obviously announced that there'd be, I think it was meant to be July. No, yeah, it's meant to be July. They're meant to do an announcement about the game. I don't know if I checked that out. Obviously, it could have been that big, so I'd have heard something about it. And now Tyson Fury's in the game, and Ryan was quite convinced that he wouldn't be. Maybe he wasn't allowed to say, but now Annie Joshua would be in the game. But I think you made a very good point about it, that Joshua wouldn't want to attach himself to a game unless it's out and they know it's quite professional. So do you kind of see that Joshua will come in as a DLC character? And what are your thoughts about EA Fight Night kind of coming back?
About the Joshua one, I believe anything now. Honestly, I believe Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and the rest can be in this game after I saw Tyson Fury. I am 100% hyped and on board, because I didn't expect it. I'm in Ryan's camp here. I didn't expect Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua to be in this game. So I believe Anthony Joshua in the future could potentially be in this. It's looking a lot cleaner, and it's got some big names attached. Once you've got Canelo in there and Fury in there, I mean, they want to attach themselves to nothing. In terms of EA coming out with a new game, more the merrier. That's the way I look at it. I think there's a world in where EA-style games, where fighting games come into play, there is a world for them, and I don't see why it wouldn't be seen as good competition for Esports Boxing Club. It's competition means we're going to get a better game.
Exactly. It's kind of like all the boxing channels. They're all competing against each other. Like all the media channels, like IFL, Boxing Social, Behind the Gloves, they're all kind of in the game, aren't they? All competing against each other there. Yeah, so thanks so much for your time today, man. That's awesome. We got some good points covered there. So where can people find you on social media? And I'll put your channel in the link in the description.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, all Concept Reece. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that today, man. That's amazing. Thank you.
Bye now.